And what is it about the human condition that kind of makes us so fascinated by stories revolving around crime? And should we take some sort of responsibility for ideas that might actually generate other people to commit crime that perhaps they otherwise wouldn't do so?
Okay, got it. Thank you. Just bring the car back in, mate, and let's go to 8-camera shot.
The central dilemma of the story is brilliant. It's about this writer who is desperately trying to be successful, and oddly enough, the first notoriety that he gets as a writer comes as a result of the fact that in workshopping his third book, as it were, he creates a real-life serial killer. And it's a true story, but you know, it's stranger and more wonderful than fiction.
It was a story that was told to me by James Bogle, who's a director. And it's a story that he told me because it actually happened as part of his family. I mean, the events took place on his grandfather's property, and in fact his grandfather is a character in the story.
G'day, Mr. Bogle. Snowy.
As a director, your instincts are often to just change history, stuff history. It's not, dramatic and interesting enough. It could be much more interesting. But wait, just research it and investigate it and turn it upside down and look underneath those rocks. Find out what really happened, and you will find moments of history that are more wonderful than fiction.
I'm a bit of a stickler for if that's the way it was, that's the way it was. And if it's a great story, it will end up being a great story without having to change things into fiction.
So the killer gets away with it. What about you, Snowy? Any ideas?
Nah. Not really. Never did have much of an imagination.
So the next step was to work the material, to help develop the ideas and the themes, and finding a shape to it that will give it some sense of meaning rather than an event that just took place.
If you read the material, the first thing you can think of is that this is a murder mystery, and that's the way we should do it. But for some reason, the decision to not go that way came about fairly early.
Because I work in the business of storytelling, which is the same business that Arthur Upfield worked in, then I think exploring the notion of the responsibility of the storyteller and the responsibility of the entertainer is something that is kind of fundamental to this story. I have to look at myself a little bit to say, how much am I exploiting the real murderer to tell our story? And I think audiences need to look at themselves as well in terms of what they get out of an interest in crime and in crime fiction, because it drives almost probably 75% of television these days is based around stories revolving around crime.